All right. Yep, we good.
Well, cool. All right, Shalom. First and
Shalom.
foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachar Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And we're back once again with another Sabbath sanctuary. And today we're going to go into, as you can see in the title, the great humbling is coming, right? And we were just discussing, interesting enough, lately, and this has been something that has been going on, but lately it's almost like there has been like this ramp up of like more pride and arrogance, amongst pretty much everywhere you look, right, in all facets of society, from children, right, to women, especially, to men, and even in quote unquote Israel, right, as people would say, where you would think that having come to the understanding of like the scriptures and knowing about order and so on, right, that men and people would be more orderly, right, and humble. But as you can see, pride is at an overflow, and now it's like every 2 seconds, there's somebody like we were just discussing, right? And then Zaquan, you could chime in on like, the situation you just told us about, but now it is like you have people that are proud about things that they shouldn't even be proud about. Like you're wrong and you're loud and you're proud about it. And they have this mindset that like, so what if I'm wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna do about it? And it's very interesting because the dichotomy is so so different from people here in Babylon versus people in other countries where they don't have the luxury or the bliss of ignorance that the people in Babylon have, right? And that shows you that separation over there, because you have certain countries where somebody could really just like slap you in the face and that's it, and there could be a so-called cop standing right there, and he's not going to come and say, hey, what are you doing, put your hands on her. There's places that are like that. So over there, you're not going to see their women, acting up like that. I'm not saying they're angels. Yeah, they do act up. But over here in Babylon, it's through the roof. And then they pass on that spirit onto the youth. So now you have little children that are, as the scriptures say, which I have real quick, are behaving themselves proudly against the ancient. Even from old times, it's known that you should respect your elders, right? Even if you don't know the person, that's the norm, right? That you would respect those that are older than you, at least show them some form of a basic respect. But nowadays you don't see that. It's actually the reverse, right? You have children that blatantly disrespect their elders. They disrespect even their parents, right? Because they're of that mindset that nobody can touch me, nobody can hurt me, but it's a delusional mindset. So real quick, I'm going to bring this out and then, pass it. This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 5. It says here, and the people shall be oppressed, just getting to the point, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, right? And the ancient represents like the elders, and the base against the honorable. Okay. And that's what we see going on, right? It was happening then, but it goes to show you that these are the same people coming back again and again and again. And this is why the Heavenly Father is going to bring that humbling through the time of Jacob's trouble upon the world. You got it.
Hey, God, beautifully said. Yeah, just speaking about the situation, like I was telling brother, it's kind of similar to the situation you did in your video earlier today when I was going to the grocery store. You had it's really like a two-way, people entering into the parking lot, and then you have people that are like trying to basically, go out of the parking lot, but it's like an intersection. So the people that are already in the parking lot, there's a stop sign there for them, to basically let the other people that are coming into the parking lot have the right of way. And I was behind the person that was coming in, and then you had this person that was at the stop sign, and the person at the stop sign, they're, like I said, they're supposed to give the right of way to the people coming in. So as they were coming in, as they was at the stop sign, you had somebody coming in, and the person coming in, they were, coming in slowly. But then the person at the stop sign, for whatever reason, I guess they thought that they had the right of way, so they kept going. And then the person that was already like had the right of way, they was already like halfway through, the intersection. So they might have, I don't know, I couldn't really see their gesture, but I think they might have said like, looked at the person like, what are you doing? Like, pay attention. So the person that was in the wrong, which was, it appeared to be, a Israelite woman, right? I'm not going to say, what tribe, but she appeared to be an Israelite woman, and she just rolls down her window and just starts, yelling, being that she beast, mentality, talking about like, fuck you, bitch, blah blah blah. And I'm just in the back, just looking at her. I'm just like, but you're wrong. You're like all the way wrong. You're not even halfway wrong. Like you're not even like, okay, that person. Not. You're just the wrong person in general, and you're over here, just being irate and just being totally, unorderly when you're actually wrong, and like how the brother was saying, which is the whole topic, the great humbling. And people are like that now because they have the liberty to do so, right? They have the liberty to be prideful. They have the liberty to be arrogant, right? They have the liberty to be, loud and wrong, right? Not only are you loud, but you're also wrong. And really, like I always say, that is just a product of being in Babylon Great. That's a product of being, born and raised and bred in Babylon. There is no accountability. There is no humility in this place, man. And when you look at that, it just goes to show you why the Lord is so angry, has so much indignation against this, the people of this land, because as I have the scripture here in the book of Sirach, the 10th chapter, um, start at verse, well, I'm going to jump around, but the one here it says, uh, 18, it says, pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. Okay, so pride wasn't made for mankind. And when you actually think about, man and the way that the Lord created us, we all came from the dirt. Like that's something that at the end of the day, humans on the planet, actually are just nothing but dust and clay. And it's through the spirit of the Lord that we are able to, be active, right? To have animation. The animation doesn't come from your heart and your brain and your mind. The animation of your body comes from the spirit of the Lord. Because when you die, guess what? You still have a heart, when you die. You still have a brain when you die. But if the Lord takes the spirit out, then none of those things operate, none of those things work. And that is why you being prideful, or people being prideful in general, is such a detestable thing into the eyes of the Lord. Because like, what are you prideful about? Especially Israelites, especially here in Babylon the Great, Israel don't have anything to be prideful about. You don't have rulership, you don't have authority, right? You don't own anything. So, the pridefulness that people have is really a pseudo, it's a delusion. And what the Lord is about to do is strip that delusion away from people by bringing scenarios and situations to where you can't be prideful in. It's either whatever you have and whatever type of skill set, whatever type of whatever you have, that's what you're gonna have to deal with. People are gonna find out they don't have shit. They're gonna find out how much they don't have anything to be prideful about, or the things that they do have, those are things that are not, to be boastful in. That's why the scripture says that let not the rich man boast in his riches, or the mighty man boast in his might, or the wise man boast in his wisdom, but he that boasteth, let him boast in that he knows the most high. And that's how the Lord, is going to make a separation between those that are, his elect, which the elect, we really are the only ones that have something to be boastful about. But the hopeful elect and the people that are in the truth, those are supposed to be the most humble and meek people. That's how Yahweh Shai was. And when brothers deal with each other, even when we deal with people in the world, right? We don't come off arrogant and boastful towards them. People that come up, to us at camp, we're going to deal with you how you deal with us. And that's how the Lord set us up, right? Make your heads hard against their foreheads. So if you are, come up humble to us, we're going to be humble to you. But if you come up boastful and trying to be hard against us, we're going to give you that same energy. But the mindset that we have is to, be humble and meek. And that's how we're supposed to be. That's how Yahweh Shah was. So, that's actually, I got one more precept here. Jumping up to verse 7 in Ecclesiastes 10, it says, pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and by both doeth one commit iniquity. Okay, because when you're prideful, then you're not going to, you know what? Let me just get it. Jump down. Verse 13, it says, for pride is the beginning, Salakia 12, the beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High and his heart is turned away from his maker. You see, so when you're prideful, you're not thinking about a higher power. You're not thinking about how you are, a creation of the Most High. And just like as He created you, as Job said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. If you look at yourself or try to look at yourself in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you have nothing to be prideful of. Everything is always like, oh, the water to the Lord for doing everything that you've done for us because you didn't have to do any of it. And if you want to just jack us up, nobody can stop you from doing it. Nobody can stop the Lord from effing our lives up. And if you're in that mindset, then you will be more humble, and that will actually make you more desirable in the eyes of the Lord. But you got it.
I got a precept. Oh, well, actually, it's just what you brought out in Sirach, if I may. In Sirach 10, I want to read it in the GNT though. Sirach 10 and 6. Don't be angry with someone for every little thing he does wrong. Don't do anything out of injured pride. Going into the incident from earlier that you mentioned, that was all injured pride. When you're moving at a place of your pride being injured, or your pride, you're moving from a place of trying to avenge your pride, your wounded pride, it usually doesn't end well. But when you move from a place of humility and understand the Lord's will, you'll let them little things slide. That's why the best thing to do is to just let these people have it. In terms of like road rage, driving out on the road and people are acting up or doing things to piss you off. And basically you just like kind of wink at it and let it slide because it's like, man, if they're not of the elect, the Lord gonna deal with them, So you don't have a sense of trying to avenge yourself. But it says, arrogance and injustice are hated by both the Lord and people. Injustice, arrogance, and wealth cause nations to fall from power. Yeah, arrogance. That's a heavy word right there. Arrogance. And wealth cause nations to fall from power, and others then rise to take their place. Right. And that's what's going to happen to this kingdom, to this wicked kingdom. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock. So everybody got to be humble. You see, and the beautiful thing about this ministry, the Lord put it to where we got to be humble now. We've been taught in this thing to not be prideful. And just a little bit more, it says, we are only dust and ashes. What have we got to be proud of? Our body decays even while we are alive. Right. So ultimately, what does that mean? We're dust and ashes. We came, Adama means what? Earth. All right. We came from the ground, or I believe it means ground, right? Adama. Right. So we came from the ground. Okay. So what do we have to be proud of? Our bodies decay. We're in the flesh. We're in this weak. That's why the scripture says, Jacob, thou worm. So we've come to the understanding that pride is not a good quality for a man to have. That's why the scripture says that pride was not made for man. Whereas these people in the world, the American way is to be prideful. The American way is to be puffed up with as much pride as possible. That's why they have that thing, fake it till you make it, which is all based off of pride, so that you could be somebody, but you got it.
Hey, Khan, that's beautiful right there, because ultimately, like we've been saying for all these years, right, that eventually the Lord is going to snap. Like we say in the world, you provoke somebody, ultimately he's going to snap. And there's many times in the scriptures where the prophets of the Lord were sent by the Lord to tell the children of Israel, all right, that you have provoked the Lord to anger, right? And that spirit of being provoked to anger, man, we felt that spirit yesterday, man. It was a heat, like it was like a very fiery spirit of like, it's like, yo, if we were not spiritual, something could have happened to that woman and those people in the car because of how they were behaving. In the sense that even if they were to do it to the wrong person, that's when you're going to hear on the news, oh, a guy gets out of his car and blasts her away. Those kind of things. You provoke somebody to anger. You bring out that anger, that heat, that in the moment, the heat of the passion of the moment like that. So it don't take your life, man. And the fact that you wrong, and then she had the nerve to stick out her middle finger. Whoever was in the back stuck out her middle finger for a good minute. And then we just, man, yeah, hey. And then all we did was, hey, throw up curses on him, man. them, the rest of their family too, they all gonna be out of here, man. All right, because you don't know who the hell you just offended. You know, and most of us brothers, we don't really take offense to shit that happens in the world like that. You know, it happens, we just move on. Yeah, whatever, we just move on. But it's very rare that you get underneath a brother's skin where he's like, nah, you know what, you got to get this one. I'm gonna pass you to the Lord. You know, I'm gonna have Satan get your ass on this one. You know, I hope you don't make it home tonight. As a matter of fact, while you making that turn right there, you get T-bone, and then we can see your blood splash all over the place, man. Your head smashed out in pieces. That's how pissed off we were, man. You know? And I was like, damn, this is nothing compared to how the Lord's anger is going to be kindled. That's going to cause him to destroy this whole land. All these people, all these wicked ass people, man. You know, but always remember, before that, he's going to torment a lot of you people, man. Right? All you, and I felt that energy. I said, I see why the Lord's going to destroy these people. He's going to love doing it because you piss him off, man. You know, you're wrong and you're loud and you're mad rebellious on top of that. You know? Let's get this real quick. There's a book of Isaiah, chapter 32 and verse 9. It says, rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Right. And that's a woman who's at ease, man. Because Bakar, like you said in the beginning, that if you were to do this in a different country, your head is going to be coming off. All right. A lot of these women in the East, they understand the concept of discipline. Their life, they know that their life is nothing. All right. They are taught from childhood growing up that you need to be in order. If not, you could be out. You could be out of there. You know, they'll have the whole town, the whole city or whatever, a small little town, and you have a young girl that probably committed adultery or this sign that's off. They'll bring her into the square, into the middle of everybody else, and they're gonna have a circle, the whole entire town, with all the girls and women and men. Everybody gonna be surrounding her, and then she's gonna be down on her knees. They're gonna cover her head with a cloth or whatever, and then the men gonna stone her ass to death. All right, or they're gonna take these whips and they're gonna whoop her ass, man, right in the midst of everyone as a punishment. And she's crying, she's begging, and the more you try to defend, the more they hit you harder and say, stop defending. You know, that's the type of punishment that they be getting over there. Over here, they don't do that shit. Women be wrong, but yet they're always right. Because let a female do some dumb shit and piss a man off and let him do something to her. What happens? He was wrong, no matter what the situation was, man. And the Lord is stirring up that spirit. The more rebellious you women are becoming, the more aggressive the men are going to be towards you. Because that delicate spirit, that feminine spirit has gone. So now the men are looking at these women as beasts, she beasts, hyenas. Like, you guys are a threat to me. If I don't defend myself, this bitch could slice me, right? Because that's how these females are. They become so careless that life is nothing to them. It's nothing for a female to drive her car, driving crazy and get into an accident because she's angry at you or she got into an argument with you. You know? It's nothing for her to come in and pick up a baseball bat and crash your car, your wish smash out your windows and walk away, storm off like nothing ever happens, like nothing's going to happen to her. We see this all the time in Babylon. The only country on earth that you're going to see some shit like that is a culture. It's disgusting, man. All right? And it's gone unchecked for so long. Very soon the Lord's going to step in. And when he steps in, yo, it's over with, man. All right? It says what? Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. So the things that makes you comfortable and gives you that spirit of arrogancy, all right, those things are going to be taken away. And then you're going to be brought down to your base level. And that's when you're going to see who's who, man. All right? All that stupid ass behavior, even the car she was driving, that even pissed me off, man. She got an SUV doing all this whole ass shit. What's wrong with these people, man? You know? But let the lights go out and let the troops hit the streets. They cut the lights and then they storm the streets and they start pop, 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 block after block after block. Then you're going to be hearing the screams. Then the feminine nature comes out, man. It says, verse 11, it says, tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare and gird sackcloth on your loins. That's a form of what? Of mourning, of grief. Okay? And very soon, the Lord is not saying, oh, just do it. No, he's going to give you a reason to do it. All right? When you lose everything, including damn near your life, the Lord's going to make sure that you're going to be in that spirit of mourning and grief and regret. All right? All the bullshit that you said, all the bullshit that you did, hey, the Lord said, well, he's going to repay it to their faces, man. All right? She that is mine enemy shall see it. You're going to see the hand of the Lord through his men. That's when you're going to know that, damn, this society has led me astray. This society made me think that I could do all these things without consequences. And in one day, I'm seeing all this happen to me. And a lot of you women, you're going to get crushed and no one is going to feel bad for you. Because when it happens, it's a different story when maybe one or two incidents happens and everybody's paying attention to it.
And it's also a different story when it's thousands of women going through the same exact thing. Ain't nobody gonna pay attention to that because it's too often everyone is desensitized to it. Your protection cover has been taken away. Now it's free for all. The Lord is going to set you women up for failure, man. And these wicked ass niggas, these gang members, these Tyrones, these dudes are in prisons, and then they break out of prison and then put too easy, LOL. They're coming for you bitches, man. They say, yo, the prison gates couldn't hold us back. We coming for you hoes, man. If the prison bars can't hold us back, what makes you think your little door and your windows is gonna hold us back, man? They're coming in there. And it's crazy because last week I was working and there was this Jake. I seen this Jake walk. He was like, I was going into the building. I seen him going up the hill, talking mad shit. Like, what the fuck I told you, bitch? What I did? Yo, he's cursing her out. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Jake he's losing it, you know? So then he said, what the fuck did I tell you? He's like punching his fist, like he's getting warmed up, ready to, you know what I'm saying, do some damage. So then a few minutes later, I'm upstairs, you know, doing my thing. I hear the guy's voice again, more louder and louder. And he's like a wild bull. Like he's just like a lion, like walking in the streets, like he's on a mission. And you know what he does? He goes to the front of the house, and when he starts yelling, he's going crazy. What the fuck I told you, bitch? What the? And he kicked the window, like the door. Boom! All you hear is the glass shatter, man. Green, just like that. And he said, "You lucky bitch! I would have came in there and I killed you." Like going crazy, you know. And he finished, and then he just walked off. He broke everything, and you know she was shook in there, man. She was shook in there, cause ain't nobody to save you. The nigga that you thought was your man has turned on you. Now what? Guess what happened? A few minutes later, guess who I saw? Centurions pull up because that's the only thing she could do. She do all this talking because she can't really back it up. So she gonna call her husband, the cops. Oh, come save me. But what if the cops are no longer there? Now what? When Trump says, now we ain't working in these neighborhoods, it's too dangerous out there. Y'all gotta fend for yourselves. Now what? See? At that point, that guy knows there is no consequences for my actions. I'm gonna act on my emotions. You piss me off, now you're finna get this work. And that's when you women are gonna be in a lot of trouble, man. A lot of trouble. And I'm not talking about just getting hurt. You're going to be up out of here, man. You out of there. All right. And it's going to be quick and easy. All right. So you better be careful and don't fuck with the men of the Lord, man. Stay the fuck away from us. We don't want you around us. If you don't want the Lord to strike your ass dead, stay the fuck away from us, man. All right. You got it, bro.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point, man. Like, you know, you read the scriptures with, for example, what happened with Elisha, you know, when he got offended and he cursed those children in the name of the Lord, and those she-bears came out. And the thing is, you know, we don't see what happens after that moment, you know, but for all because we don't know this person, right? So for all we know, the Lord could have had him get into some crazy judgment later that night, you know, because when you get vexed, like Aaron was saying, we know most of the time things just roll off your shoulder because you don't really care much for it. But there are certain things that just tick you off so much. You actually feel a vexation in your spirit, you know, and like a split instant is almost like your spirit, like it's like a similar feeling to when you get excited in the spirit, but this one is like more anger. And when you feel that, the Lord instantly like feels like, yeah, this person, he's not just annoyed, he's actually troubled right now, you know. And like Haran was saying, people don't consider these things, you know, when they go around and they say these things, and in all of these experiences, it's interesting because like you can see how it's why the Lord said what he said in the scriptures, right? When he compared Israel and said, are not your ways unequal and my ways equal? And yet you say my ways are unequal. Because here it is, like Aharon said, she can come and smash your freaking car window and all that in and then walk away. And then when you try to, you know, even just take her to court or whatever the case is, she'll act innocent. You know, it's like you were saying, here it is. The dude is pissed off and he keeps kicking that door, but nobody knows what she actually did to piss him off that bad. Like, for all you know, he may have been one of the calmest dudes, you know, working a 9-to-5, hardworking guy, taking care of her. And she went into some foul shit, you know, some crazy adulterous, wild, crazy, whatever stuff, you know, and now it triggered that in him. But she's going to turn around and play the victim. You know, like you do some real sick, sinister shit. And then when judgment comes upon you, you cry and turn around and act as though, you know, you deserve a second chance or X, Y, and Z. And that's being unequal. Because when you were doing this, it was okay. You know, when you get out of line, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But when judgment comes upon you, then everybody else needs to have mercy on you. And you're just a woman and you're just X, Y, and Z. Hey, Ezekiel 9:5. right? When the Lord gave that order, it wasn't discriminatory against gender, age, or any of that, or race, or any of that. So when the Lord brings that judgment again, and this time, it's not going to be discriminatory against your race or how weak or strong you are. The Lord is going to bring judgment in this time, without measure, okay, upon you wicked Israelites. I got a quick precept. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 27, verse 28. And it reads, "Mockery and reproach are from the proud, but vengeance as a lion shall lie in wait for them." And the way that manifests now is when it lies in wait, it means there's gonna come a day. You know how people say, like, you're gonna do this one day to the wrong one. You're gonna try this against the wrong person. That's that vengeance that the Lord has set. There's gonna come a day where you continue in this path and you do it, like Haran's example. She go and do that shit to somebody else, and then the Lord has it to where you get stuck in an intersection and there's cars blocking you, so now you can't move. Because what they like to do is they'll do stupid shit and then they'll drive off real fast. And if you pull up to them next to them, then they'll look away or they'll act like they don't know what's going on. The Lord will have you blocked over there and have whoever it is come out that car and freaking cut that finger off. Like there was a video of wasn't it maybe in DR or some country where you had dudes fighting with a machete and dude cut the other dude's whole hand off. And he had to run and come back and pick up his hand and run away and shit. The Lord gonna start bringing some harsh judgments like that upon you individuals and keep you stuck just like that. Now, the word mockery and reproach, when you go into the word reproach, it says address someone in such a way as to express disapproval or disappointment. And when you go into the word mockery, it says teasing and contemptuous language or behavior directed at a particular person or thing. And when you go into the word contemptuous, it says showing contempt, scornful, insulting. So that's exactly what they do, because in their minds, like Haran said, the perfect example is they know that when the authorities come, it's always in their favor anyway, because just by your gender and the way you look, you're already a threat. So you're already working from behind the line. And this is why the Heavenly Father is going to bring the proper and right judgment to set things right.
Yep. I got a precept here. Isaiah, the second chapter, verse 9. It says, I'm gonna read this in the GNT. It says, everyone will be humiliated and disgraced. Do not forgive them, Lord. Okay, and that is the day, that is coming upon this place, man. Where the times that you're not, like we've been saying, people are prideful and arrogant now because they have the ability to be so, right? They have the what is it called? The normalcy bias, right? Everything's fine, everything's the same. So, I've been arrogant all my life. I've seen some shit where some chick on the internet was basically saying how, like, oh, I'm reckless with my mouth, dude don't want to test me with my mouth. I'm just like, first off, if you're a grown person, what is somebody's mouth like? How is that a threat, right? Your mouth isn't an actual threat. Only thing your mouth is going to do is get you punched in. So your mouth is a threat to yourself. Because if you're going to talk shit, it's one thing if you're going to talk shit to another woman, right? But if you are going to sit here and talk shit to to a man, you got to be willing to accept what happens after that. And the thing is, with society now, with these, what they call them YNs, these niggas now are just, they have a mindset, or should I say a lack of self-control like a woman. But they're still men. So they still have the manly, muscles and the strength and all that, but they don't have the temperament, that an actual man is supposed to have. So if you tick off one of these little YNs, these niggas out here in the world, they're not able just to de-escalate, right? They don't have the ability to do conflict resolution. They don't have the ability to be like, you know what, let me decompress, let me take a step back and, let me cool off. That's how these niggas work nowadays. Niggas is just, they're snapping just as much as a chick snaps. But the difference is if a man snaps on a woman, then it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to end well, right? And this is why it says, do not forgive them, Lord. Because once again, pride was not made for men. So the Lord is not going to let, allow people to be prideful and allow them to be this, self have a lack of self control and all these things, and then just let them ride off in the sunset. Nah, there is a judgment. There is a recompense for your actions, and that's what people have forgotten. Right? They've forgotten that there is recompense. There is judgment for what you do. Right? Especially our people. Right? To hell with these heathens. But our people have forgotten that there is a consequence for your actions. And the thing is, what the Lord is about to set up, what the Lord is bringing. But before he brings that, he actually even had mercy to bring the prophets out to tell you to stop doing these things, to be humble. And the Lord has spent a long time, right, through the men of the Lord to give this warning out, to tell you to have, he showed the compassion. But instead of, as it says in Second Chronicles, instead of hearkening to the prophets, you misuse the prophets, you mock the prophets, you scorn the prophets, until the point where there is not going to be a remedy. Because if you're not going to hear the prophets, and you're not, which is ultimately hearing the voice of the Lord, then there's nothing else that can happen except the actual wrath of the Lord. Right? There's only two ways. There's only the mercy of the Lord or the wrath of the Lord. There is no middle ground. Right? And people think there's a middle ground. People think, oh, I can, still act a certain way, but still kind of still get the mercy of the Lord. That's not how it works. Right? Verse 10, it says, they will hide in caves and in the rocky hills, or dig holes in grounds to try to escape from the Lord's anger and to hide from his power and glory. A day is coming when human pride will be ended and human arrogancy destroyed. Then the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Hawashai, will be, then Yahweh Bashem Hawashai alone will be exalted. So the day is coming where you're not going to have pride on the earth. But mankind is not going to have pride. Every single solitary person is going to, the pride is going to stop. Arrogance is going to stop. And you can only, that's like kind of impossible to think about when you think about how much pride is just oozing in this world, especially here in Babylon. But the day is going to come where every single spirit on the earth is going to be without pride. And that is going to be a glorious thing, because at that point, even us, right, we're going to be afraid. But then the Lord said that he is going to allow his elect to stand up in that day, right? It said that be worthy to escape these things and stand before the Son of Man. While everybody else is kneeling, everybody else is afraid, they got their head down, they're ashamed, they're terrified. The Lord is going to exalt his elect and say, nah, y'all can stand up. And then anybody else trying to stand up that didn't he get told to stand up by the Lord, you're going to get your head knocked off. So that's how the Lord is going to raise his men in that day as well, which is the men that are striving for the truth right now, and the whole world is going to see that. Because who, as the scripture says, when the Lord exalts you, who can abase you? Who can humble you when the actual Creator and the Son of the Creator exalts you? And vice versa, if the Lord humbles you, who's going to exalt you? Who's going to abase you? Who's going to tell you, nah, like, yeah, you still good? The Creator said you're not good. That's it. It's over. A little bit more. It says, on that day, the Lord Almighty will humble everyone who is powerful, everyone who is proud and conceited. Okay, and he's going to do that by way of what? The destruction that he's going to bring, right? The lamenting that everybody is going to be going through is going to get to a point where you're not going to be able just to say, hey, better times is coming, or I just got to just make it through this, and then there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's not going to be no light. There's not going to be no a better time. It's just you're dealing with this perilousness up until death. That's why we talk about the hour of temptation, Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble, the end of Jacob's trouble is you being destroyed. It's not that you go through Jacob's trouble and then, oh, that was some trouble, but I made it through. Nah, it's just, that was trouble, and then you die. That's it. You got it.
Yeah, anybody have anything?
Yeah, I actually had a precept. Unless you brothers had something.
I had something, one more, but I'm gonna let you go. Actually, no, I'm gonna bring this out real quick because I wanted to bring this out. Proverbs 19, verse where is it? Proverbs 19, verse 29. It says, Judgments are prepared for scorners and stripes for the backs of fools. Okay. And that is, at a certain point, we all been there where our parents would tell us, they would talk to us, they say, I'm tired of talking. And then now you just gotta get the belt because you've been warned so many times to where clearly the warning is not getting through to you. So I'm tired of talking to you, and now you got to get dealt with the pain, with the stripes, and that's what these people are in this society is they're so foolish that the warning to them is a nuisance, right? The warning to them is something that they actually disdain. So the Lord is calling, that's a foolish mindset. So the only thing that is prepared for you is the stripes that the Lord is going to bring. And those stripes, once again, isn't, something that you can just roll off your shoulder, but that's it. That's what I want to get.
That's right. That's right. So I got this right here, 2nd Ezra 8:50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So again, what we've been going into this whole lesson and what we always speak about through the Spirit of the Lord, we're in that time because the pride of people is at an astronomical level, and social media catapulted them to an even higher level of pride, where you could have like one example, actually two examples. This just came out today. This influencer, a lot of these Northern Kingdom women are getting judged, man. This influencer, she got shot down in one of them countries, and then another one, she got shot on live, and apparently her friend set her up. It was some weird situation, but again, you out here putting yourself on the forefront, putting yourself on the internet. A woman that has I would say, some sense of wisdom, because Solomon said he didn't find any wise woman. So I'll say even a woman that has half a molecule in her brain that's still working, that has some sense of right and wrong, is going to look and say, yo, let me cover myself up and let me not have myself on the public like that. Let me not have myself out there on the forefront advertising myself all over the place. But you women that are out there that you use the social media, their ass is out. It's like a mental disease with you bitches, man. And this is it. The great pride, right? Many great miseries, because why? Because they have walked in great pride. That's an example of walking in great pride. And I'm gonna read the next verse, and I'll give it to you, brothers. We can just close out. But 51st verse. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. And that's what we're ultimately about. All right, understanding this for ourselves. We can't make you understand it. We can teach you. We can bring the horse to the water, but can't make them drink it. All right. So what are we out here seeking? Seeking out the glory, which is the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the knowledge, all right, of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Ultimately, the victory that's coming, we're seeking it out for those that are like-minded. That's why we congregate with each other. That's why you see us around brothers a lot. We always speak to one another. The scripture says those that fear the Lord speak often one to another. We speak through these lessons. We speak through, the phone, text, whatever, email, however you want to, holler at brothers. But ultimately, we stay around each other because that's the best place to be, in the sanctuary of the Lord, man. Like on the highways and hedges yesterday, we was out there and I was like, man, I'm all the way out here in a whole different state. And I'm just thinking I was so grateful just to be there, man. The Wadi Yahweh Shem Yahushai, just for us being gathered, man. All these different brothers from different parts, from the boroughs, from here, from NY, LI, Jersey, wherever, and brothers just unified in the spirit. So the Wadi Yahweh Shem Yahushai for keeping us locked in, man. And the rest of you people, you know what's coming.
Hey, Khan, like you said, all the great miseries that's coming because of what? Because of their great pride. And I believe next month you're gonna have the stupid bullshit month of pride. The pride of demons is gonna be coming out on Front Street. Doing the overtime shifts, man. So we gotta, that's when brothers gotta, really be in tune in the spirit as possible, just so you can stay calm, because the vexation is gonna be at an all-time high. We could see it now, but Esau is going to do it to a point where it's so blatant to us that it's going to piss us off even more. Especially when they start. Especially you got nowadays, you got all these people, doing videos on the Hebrew Israelites this, Hebrew Israelites that, whatever. So whatever the case may be, it's like now the energy and the attention is diverting towards the truth, the men, the ministry, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's truth, right? So everything is kind of tuning towards us, and that's pissing brothers off even more and more. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, the Lord is doing that because He has to build it up. So when He destroys it, it's that much more satisfying, right? When you see something be destroyed so perfectly, you sit back and you just like, Lord, yes, you got him. Like, it's just perfect. You know, when the Most High smokes out a food for you, it's a beautiful sight to see, man. We get excited when we see that, man. When we see videos, I be watching some of these videos, man. Like they got 1,000 Ways to Die. That's another one. But they got all these different ones where they call it something fails, like accident fails or whatever fails. Man, them videos be so funny. And I'm like, because those are judgments from the Lord. But the Lord brings the judgment. It's so cruel. It's just too funny at that point. You know, I'm like, damn, what did this fool do to the Lord to get this kind of judgment? And you could only but laugh at that point. You know, and very soon that's how it's gonna be for a lot of you women, man. All right. And a lot of you hoe ass niggas too. Okay. You punk ass niggas that think social media is life. You do all kinds of dumbass, hoe ass, capping ass shit for likes and views. The Lord's going to get you niggas too. All right. There's a book of Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 11. And you know what? A lot of these dudes coming up against us, it's not really because they got a problem with what we're saying, because a lot of them don't even understand what we're saying. They're too foolish. Right. But it's more about them trying to defend the women, trying to look cool in front of the women. Look, man, the Lord's going to strip you of all that fake ass bravado. All right. Trust me and believe me. When the time comes, we gonna rip niggas' heads off. All right, through the spirit. We really gonna fuck niggas up, man. I'll just put it out there just like that. All right. There's a book of Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 11. It says, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And how is that gonna happen? Through what? Pain, death, destruction, man. Right? The book tells you what, I believe in the book of Jeremiah, it says what? Those that are for the famine, for the sword, for the famine, man. All right? So there's going to be all sides. You're going to get cooked, man. All right, I'm going to get this last one and we could close it out. All right, it's the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 10. It says, then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy God? Right? So especially when they come against us, that's the kind of spirit they're coming in. Where's the Lord? Where's your God? Why are you guys coming up here and saying all these different things? You women, you're foolish, man, and you're gonna be destroyed very soon. All right, very very soon, man. We're gonna watch it and love every bit of it. All right, it says, "Mine eyes shall behold her." Yeah, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna see it. All right. It says, "Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets." Now, so all this time she's been holding around doing all this dumbass shit. Now is the time of her judgment, and we're gonna sit back and watch. We're gonna watch. It doesn't say we're gonna go hold her up and lift her from the mire. No, it says we're gonna behold her. We're gonna watch her get trampled down, man. And we're gonna be rejoicing. Hey, Kolo, y'all about y'all brothers got Yayan. Let's drink, bro. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that woman over there? Yup. Oh, that influencer, Lily Phillips, the one who was banging 100 dudes in one day. Yup, she out of there too. And all the females that think just like her, man. All right, the Lord is coming for you, women. You better repent and take this thing seriously, man. All right, you got it, bro.
Yeah, gone. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. So, yeah, that's pretty much the message. Buzz, got anything else? Any other?
Hey,
Yeah,
bitch, be humble.
that's it. That's it.
As Kendrick said. But not even just women too, man. As you meant, first and foremost, the men. We always got to make that evident, plainly clear that this message is first and foremost to you men, right? Because it is because of the men and their lack of manliness, right? And your manliness isn't in, how much you can lift or how much money you got, right? Being a man is how righteous, in the eyes of Yahweh Shai you are, right? Your integrity, your uprightness, your justice, right? Your word being your bond. These are the things that the Lord looks at. Okay, so it starts with the man, but because of our men are so out of order, you just got these women that just buck wild, and of course them teaming up with Esau. But once the Lord takes Esau down, you products of Esau gonna be taken out too. That's you wicked ass niggas and you she bitches, big back bears. Y'all gonna be taken out too, man. And when we can't wait, man. Like honestly, we can't wait. Yahweh Shai can't wait. And if we at the time where we feel it in our spirit that the Lord is about to do it, right? The Lord is about to do it in this generation, this soon. Okay, so man, that's it. It's a lot.
God, beautifully said. Beautifully said. So, hey, with that, the willingness is edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.
Hey, shalom to the elect. Shalom.